Welcome back to RetroLogic. I'm Sam Wagers here with John Cummins and Shannon Eno. How are you guys doing this week? There were some Switch 2 pre-orders. It was kind of chaotic. I think we all got one, right?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah, now
it was quite an adventure, but got one locked and loaded. So now we just gotta wait for release.
Even Dan, who was not sure
my part,
if he was going to get one.
I thought I was secure, and then realized Walmart was shipping to my old address, and they informed me that they cannot change an address on an order after it's been placed. So I had to cancel. But I found a local GameStop. I actually called customer service twice just to make sure the other person wasn't just wrong, because that happens sometimes. But yeah, they're like, no, we can't. Their suggestion, if you place the wrong address, is to cancel the order and order again. But of course, that doesn't work when it's a pre-order item that's sold out.
Right.
So yeah, check your addresses. I guess
I can kind of see
Walmart.
it. Like maybe they're trying to stop people from just editing that field and putting their own address in everybody's orders.
Well, the best explanation I've heard is that they ship through like FedEx, and FedEx just does not want them correcting their addresses once they're sent to them. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Other people have ways to do this, especially on an order that doesn't ship for a month. But oh well, GameStop came through for me, and now I can pick it up. I can do a trade-in, and it's all good.
I would say that, Walmart lost the sale, but I guarantee that thing got sold as soon as their order got canceled.
Yep. Put it back in.
Oh yeah.
As far as I know, most people that I've seen that really wanted one were able to secure one. It may have taken a long time, but it does seem like Nintendo does have... I mean, we've been hearing for a long time that they've been trying to create as much stock ahead of time as possible, that they shipped a ton into the US already, so they've been sending in warehouses. So
it definitely doesn't feel as scarce as the PS5, because that pre-order, I tried 3 or 4 times, batch wise, and I just gave up, and I bought one a year later when they were on store shelves.
And and more stock will likely become available as we approach release too, because they don't want to double book, right? And there's probably a lot of people who have maybe placed multiple orders in the panic to get one and then are going to cancel, or people like me who order from Walmart and then cancel. So
I canceled one that night, or last night
for whatever reason. Yeah, exactly. So anything else fun happen? I know John and I met in real life, so I can confirm John is a real person.
That was right after
and
we
you're not
recorded
the same
last
person.
time.
Because you posted a picture, so we can see you side by side.
I had my doubts. I had my doubts, I'm pretty sure, I can confirm now that John is a real person. I'm pretty sure Shannon is a real person. But I do remain convinced that Dan is actually just 2 of the monkeys from Ape Escape standing on each other's shoulders wearing a trench coat.
Wearing a human suit. If I hadn't met Dan in real life, I might question it myself. But Dan was also supposed to be here, but he ended up at a concert, I guess. Or I guess he never confirmed that he was coming tonight, but he wanted to.
Yes.
So we can... what else we got going on this week?
Lots of stuff. But I should mention, as we always do, that RetroLogic is not just a podcast. It is a whole community of retro gamers with an active, friendly, and free Discord. We have giveaways, we have contests, and we have a whole family of retro podcasts. Speaking of which, the latest from RetroGroove, Herbie, Hancock, Manchild. I think that's another one of their album episodes.
Yes.
Right? I'm not familiar at all with Herbie Hancock, so I can't really comment on that.
I'm not either. I'm only familiar with Tommy Boy, where he's referenced.
FilmLogic just had an episode, another to be decided, Leviathan. So you can see what that's about. I think there was some trivia involved with that as well. Is there any news for Retro Rewind? I know we're doing Solar Jetman next.
Yes. So the Solar Jetman contest is running. I would say it's probably been up for 2 weeks. I haven't had anyone drop any scores, so it's wide open.
I got to get on that.
So it's wide open. If anybody even just throws one in at this point, you're in the lead. So definitely
I've played a little bit of Solar Jetman. It's fun.
It's a good one, and it's. I feel like it's based off of the original, the Jetpack game, which I think was like it was a Sinclair game or something pretty early, like Atari era of games. It was an arcade game. Very similar, but it's newer and it has more features to it, and it's on the NES, so it looks better than the original one. I learned about Jetpack from playing Donkey Kong 64 because it was, I believe, one of the very first games that Rare developed back whenever they were. What was the name of their? It was like Play It Again or something like that. But anyway, it was whenever they were a different company.
I don't know,
but it was still Rare developed arcade game that was a blast. So this one's kind of in the same vein, just a newer version of it.
Nice.
Anyway, that contest is still going. So submit your scores.
We still have to do the Kururin episode, right?
Yes. The episodes are going a little bit slower. I've been trying to get. No, you haven't missed it. We were last week going to try to record an episode, and then this week we were going to try to record one, but I was waiting on Shannon's recovery.
Yes.
Because I'd like to be able to retain him for all the Zelda episodes.
Appreciate that.
So
yes.
Now the plan is next week. So it also helps because it kind of puts us in the off week of this show, so that we're not doing 2 shows in the same week like we have done in the past. If we can get away from it. But that next show will be Twilight Princess, and then after that, I'm going to try to schedule the Kururin show.
Nice.
Yeah. As for me, I have been trying my best to put a wrap on Battle Network as a whole. I am on the last game. My streams have been a little bit more irregular because I'm away from home, but I do have capacity to stream. So yeah, I think it was Thursday night, Saturday, Sunday, sometime around the weekend. I did manage to defeat Base EXE, which was my goal for each game, but I'm actually not at 100% because of kind of how I sort of managed to like skip some of the conditions to get there, doing all the side quests and stuff. So I have a couple other things to do to truly 100% the game. But yeah, next one will be the last because I think it shouldn't even take that long. So yeah, offer still stands. We'll do a Battle Network episode one way or another. I would like to get a guest on for that since you guys have not been persuaded to dedicate your life to Battle Network like I have for whatever reason. But yeah, so anybody listening that would like to be a part of that, DM me in Discord and we'll figure out when we're going to do that episode. Otherwise I'll just rant about Battle Network to these guys for like an hour.
Oh yeah, I do have one more thing too. I remembered. I did have some extra time away from Xenoblade. I had my brother-in-law over and my son, and I had recently picked up TMNT Splintered Fate, I think is what it's called, the roguelike.
Oh yeah,
and that game is awesome. So if you're like a fan of Hades, like it's very, as far as roguelites go, it's very Hades inspired. But with the fun that it's multiplayer. So like we get all three.
That game came out and then I heard nothing about it. It's really weird.
It kind of fizzled, I think. I hadn't really heard anybody talking about it either.
I know you can get it on Apple Arcade, I believe. I have it downloaded to my iPad, and I still have not played it, and I really should. Because it's easy enough to connect a Bluetooth controller to the iPad, so all right, I'm going to try to make that one of my goals.
It's online and cross-platform, so there's tons of ways you can play it. I was very worried that it looked kind of simple in its design, and I was kind of worried that it was going to be more tailored towards kids, and I was very wrong. Playing the first couple runs, it took a little bit to get used to everything that was going, all the new currencies of things. Like, there's a bunch of different currencies, like there is in most of those games, but actually sitting down and getting to play about 2 hours of it and getting used to it, like it's a blast, and it works really well with couch co-op. So definitely highly recommend catching that one again when it's on sale. I think it was like $15. I think I paid $16 because I think the DLC was like $1 if you bought the whole pack.
Nice.
So you get like Casey Jones and like a few extra levels as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that when it goes back down to that, because it's definitely worth $15.
Excellent. As for me, I'll just quickly throw in here Star Wars Dads. Well, hopefully we're going to be recording an episode pretty quickly here to talk about everything that came out of Star Wars Celebration Japan, including information about a new video game coming out. That's it's a strategy game, Star Wars strategy game. It looks a lot like an XCOM type game. So
nice.
I'm kind of excited about that. And then, so
I don't know if you're aware
that
of this.
And movies, cartoons.
There is a very extensive Star Wars mod or set of mods for XCOM 2 that I have used on PC.
Really?
It can be a little janky, but yeah, it's actually and it's pretty comprehensive because it swaps enemies out. It's also funny how easily a lot of the XCOM enemies map to Star Wars things as well. Because what they do is there's a lot of all the psionic kind of themed enemies become like Sith or Jedi, Dark Jedi themed enemies. And there's even one of the strongest enemies in XCOM 2 is the Sectopod, which is this two-legged walking mech. So that just becomes an ATST.
I'll have to kind of look.
Yeah,
it's
pretty fun.
I'm pretty sure
if you have XCOM 2 on PC, I don't know. Well, there is built-in mod support. I know they just sunsetted the launcher, which I know had some issues with mods. So I don't know. When I used it, I had to go through a separate mod manager to get it all to work. And even then, I think
which is no big deal. I've done that with other games.
There's a lot of it there. And it works pretty well given the general aesthetic and themes of XCOM 2, because you are a resistance trying to overthrow the aliens that conquered. It's like the bad ending of XCOM 1. The aliens took over, and now you're this scrappy little resistance. But yeah, I like XCOM 2 a lot.
Nice.
I could talk about that a while. But I figured you were going to
perk Sam's ears with XCOM.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Well, because XCOM and Star Wars are actually connected in my brain. But yes, it's time for the Price is Retro. If this is your first time playing along at home, here is how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games, and everyone has to guess how much the lot is worth in total. Whoever is closest to the actual value wins that round. Everyone has a list, and everyone guesses on each other's list. At the end, the player who has won the most rounds wins the episode, but watch out for our deadly trio of AI, ghost, robot, dinosaur players. They make their own guesses, and I believe they have the lead this season now.
I think they might have. they're either tied with me or they might have surpassed me by one.
I think the last
we're going to take it back.
They passed.
Okay.
I think that's right. All right. John, would you like to present the first list?
Sure. So, in the kind of in the honor of our theme, which I'm not even sure that we've mentioned in this episode yet, we are doing a Mario Kart theme tonight. So I grabbed 4 Mario Kart inspired kart racers to
I almost did
present
that
to you guys. I was kind of worried that might be a popular thing, but yeah.
I didn't want to look up the prices in case somebody did this.
Yeah. So
I didn't.
The first game on my list is Nickelodeon Kart Racers for the Nintendo Switch, complete in box. The second game is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed for the Wii U, complete in box. The third game is Diddy Kong Racing for the N64, complete in box. And the last game is CTR, which is Crash Team Racing for the PlayStation, complete in box.
Okay, I'm going to give first guess to Shannon here.
All right. I am going to go with $110.
Okay.
I've got $150.
$150. Okay, so the total value of my lot is $137.64.
Ooh. That one might be in between us there. That might.
Yeah, I think that goes to the robot.
Yes.
Dang it. I almost said
I didn't mention the rules,
but
the robot averages all the other guesses. So, yeah, when it's in the middle, you got to watch out.
Yeah, so his guess was 130. So he was closest.
All right, give us the breakdown.
All right, so yes, the breakdown of my list. Nickelodeon Kart Racers for the Nintendo Switch complete in box, $11.05. Ironically enough, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform for the Wii U complete in box, also $11.05.
That's a fun game, by the way.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
It was also on the 3DS, I believe. Diddy Kong Racing for the N64 complete in box, $95. That seems low.
A little low. I actually went a little lower than that. Actually,
that game's so good. I figured it would be like around the 150, but I guess there was quite a few of them. And then the last game, CTR Crash Team Racing for the PlayStation complete in box, $20.54.
Yep. It was that complete in box N64 because I knew that it wasn't a high cost game, but I still undervalued it.
It happens.
Yeah, I typically assume complete in box cartridge games that aren't like very bargain bin are going to be close to 100.
The dinosaur guessed 220. That was the first time in a long time that his guess has been over the actual lot value.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, who's up next?
I think it's you.
All right. So I decided to give you guys a little bit of a break. We're going to do some straight up NES classics.
There we go.
Nothing tricky about it. However, they are complete in box. I mean, I can't make it
got?
Too easy. 5 of them.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm setting the dyno. That's all. Makes it easier for me.
These are not obscure either. These are straight up. You're going to find them straight up on like even the NES Classic Mini or whatever it's called. First up is Super Mario Brothers 3, complete in box.
Okay.
Second one is Mega Man 2, complete in box. Third one is Legend of Zelda, complete in box. Fourth one is Final Fantasy, complete in box. And the fifth one is Kirby's Adventure, complete in box.
Gosh. I guess
I'm first guess.
Yeah, you're first because you didn't do last time.
Because my list is next. I'm just going to say an even 200.
Okay.
200 for... Okay. I think I'm going to go 600.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think John
lately
has
I've been overestimating the complete ones, but I guess that's not the case here.
No, John is close. Total value is $579.37. So he's only about $20 off.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3, $71.66. Mega Man 2, $139.53. Legend of Zelda actually was a little higher than I expected, with an even $160. Final Fantasy complete box, which is what I have, is up to $130. And Kirby's Adventure is $78.18.
Nice. Yeah,
it's the weird thing about complete in box, because it does add a lot sometimes, but then I'm like, these are all like very common games,
Right?
But they're so well known that like people want the complete in box,
exactly.
So it like adds more if it's in good condition. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just not what I shop for, man. I'm like, give me the scratched up label if it's cheaper.
I knew that Mario 3 was around $100 because I have it. It's gone down, I think, a little bit. Actually, I have the challenge set version, so I think it's worth a little bit more. It's got the sticker on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of them I kind of valued at $150, and then was thinking about how that might be too high, and then I was like, well, I'll just come down $100 and we'll see.
Yeah, it worked out.
And it worked, yeah. The Dino is at $225.
All right.
So I was even below him.
Yep.
I don't know what I was thinking. All right, well, I guess we should be rooting for John at this point so that he can defeat the trio. We'll see.
I'm still going to give my best guess, though.
My list is a secret because I have Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo. Loose.
Ooh, nice.
Secret of Evermore for the Super Nintendo. Loose. The Secret of Monkey Island for the Sega CD. Loose. Secret Agent Clank for the PSP. Loose. And lastly, Barbie Secret Agent Barbie, which for some reason Barbie is in the title twice, at least on price charting. For the Game Boy Advance. Loose. So they're all loose because loose lips sink ships.
Hopefully that's not that Barbie that's like $400,000 or whatever. There's some Barbie game that's worth an insane amount of money, but I don't think it's this one.
Okay, so I'm going first. I'm going to go with I'm going to go 225.
225, okay.
Well, I have 275.
Okay.
225, 275. So the total value,
250. We're screwed.
Is $126.
Oh, wow.
12 cents.
Oh.
So coming in pretty low.
I could have sworn
Secret
Evermore was an expensive game, but
so Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana both are exactly $44.99, loose on price charting.
That's quite affordable.
Secret of Monkey Island for the Sega CD, $19.17. Secret Agent Clank for the PSP, $9.47, and Barbie Secret Agent Barbie, $7.50.
I was putting a little fluff in there because
I think there's another version of that.
I didn't know if that Game Boy Advance game was going to be worth something, so I put a little bit of fluff in mine. I was thinking in my head somewhere around like 175, but I also have some kind of I know that where the Dino's at as well, so I can kind of buffer under him a little bit. Unfortunately, I can't do. I mean, we all know the ghost, so it's kind of the same thing. But,
right.
So,
did you beat the dino then?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess
so. You're the winner of this game.
Yes,
nicely done.
It's kind of funny because the dino and the robot were $5 off from each other because the dino was at $255 and the robot would have been at $250.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Boy, I haven't won in a long time.
Feels good, doesn't it?
I haven't won since January. I've only won twice this whole season. I'll take it.
This is the start of the comeback, right?
Yes.
As long as we don't let the trio win the season, we have to do it for humanity.
That's right.
Do we have a trivia card, Shannon?
In place of trivia card, I have a how well do you know Mario Kart trivia challenge for the two of you. All right. I went through and took it just to make sure because some of these are done by AI and I'll find like lots of mistakes. So let's see what we got here. What year was Super Mario Kart released for the SNES?
92?
Yeah, 92. But I think Sam has it in the notes.
Yeah. Well, that's
I did not need the notes for that one because I have a shirt with it on it.
Yeah.
It's also the year I was born. So
there you go.
My parents actually bought that shirt for me because they're like, yeah, it's the year you were born. 92.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right. What Mario Kart 64 introduced which two playable characters that were not included in the initial game?
Wario?
There is multiple choice.
Wario and...
Oh, okay.
Wario is correct.
Now, is it Donkey Kong? Does Donkey Kong Jr. count as Donkey Kong? Because Donkey Kong Jr. was in Super Mario
you are
Kart.
correct.
Yeah,
just straight up Donkey Kong was added. Yes.
Okay.
Nicely done.
There we go.
Besides Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which version of Mario Kart has sold the most copies? So excluding the Mario Kart 8 / Deluxe.
I would have to guess
Wii.
Mario Kart Wii, but it could be DS.
Correct.
I think
you
it's
guys
Wii.
are doing great.
It's Wii.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember because it was the one that everyone made a big deal about whenever Mario Kart 8 beat it.
Yep. What is the name of the level that's featured in every version of Super Mario Kart?
Rainbow Road.
Yep.
Is Mario Circuit not in every one?
It might be now that I think about it. It
varies a lot.
I mean,
more
they
than
listed
Rainbow Road
they
and what
list
it looks
choices
like,
in this thing,
but yeah.
so yeah.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
that's
one
true.
of the multiple choice options.
So, in the game Mario Kart Tour, how many weeks does each tour last?
Oh gosh,
I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know this one. I got this one wrong because
the mobile games.
Yeah, I didn't really play much of this. So, what did you say, John?
I said 2 weeks.
That's correct.
Oh, I guessed right.
Okay.
I've played that game once.
What item squirts ink at players?
Squid. What's
Blooper.
he called? Is it
he has a Mario name.
Calamari or whatever?
Nope.
Blooper.
Starts with a
What?
B.
Oh, the
Blooper.
It's like it's a BL something.
Not
Yep.
coming through.
Blooper, that's right. It's like, gosh, I know that.
Uh-oh.
All right. Which items gives your cart the biggest? Which item gives your cart the biggest power boost?
Oh, the Bullet Bill.
Biggest power boost. What is that?
Yeah,
I
this
guess.
Yeah, this one might be based on which of the choices they give.
Well, give us the multiple choice then, I guess.
Yeah, well, except for the multiple choice here are ridiculously stupid. The multiple choice they give are here is petrol, a golden mushroom, common sense, or a star.
Star, I guess, gives you more power than anything because you're invincible.
Yeah, the answer they're looking for is golden mushroom, but I could see where star would be. So I'm gonna have to say bad question.
Bad question. Because I mean, really, Bullet Bill is the most powerful. Question. That's the item that everyone wants in last place.
You can do a rocket start during a race. True or false?
A rocket start? I mean, yeah, you can do a quicker start off the line.
The answer is false. You can do a quick start or a fast start, but I guess it's not called a rocket start.
Yeah,
I think it's called a boost.
Kind of boost. Yeah.
All right. Almost done here. Which of the following is not a cup race in Mario Kart DS? Oh, geez. Star, flower, shell, or pizza?
Pizza.
Yeah.
Obviously.
This just gets a little ridiculous. That's why I didn't want to give a whole lot of multiple choice here. How do you score points in a balloon battle?
By knocking the balloon off the other character.
Yeah.
Popping the balloon or whatever. It actually doesn't pop, it just flies away. It's kind of weird.
That's true.
It just lets loose from or it did on the N64.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't say they were the greatest questions in the world, but for a quick little find something.
Okay, well, that's it for our games, and we'll be back with our show topic for the week after a short break. We'll be talking about Mario Kart. See you on the other side of the break. And we are back from a break that was quite long, but it's quite short for the listeners because of the magic of editing. I had some internet problems, so we decided to reschedule the second half of the episode to 2 days later. But here we are, ready to talk about some Mario Kart. Of course, Mario Kart World is around the corner as a Switch 2 launch game, but we're looking back on the series history and just some of our favorite memories. So how about you guys? What exactly is your history? Are you big Mario Kart fans? Did you play all the games?
I will say that I did play Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, but as a rental. I never actually owned it. And I can't really say I connected with it, actually, if I'm being honest. It wasn't until Mario Kart 64 that the game really clicked. That's the one that I really went all in on. College buddies. I mean, we played a lot of Mario Kart in college. Mario Kart 64. So that's really where I got my start. And I played all of them since then. Some of them I put in, quite a bit of time, but others I kind of just glance over. And so some of them connect better than others for me.
Yeah, I started with Super Mario Kart for sure, and started out playing at a friend's house, and then I got my own copy, and at that point it was just doing time trials and stuff, trying to get better so that I could win races. Super Mario Kart was definitely, it's so much different than the rest of them. Well, I guess other than Super Circuit, because it has you're basically in one spot and the course turns, so it's kind of different. But I definitely put a lot of time into it, trying to learn shortcuts and just the right timing for turns. Turns were pretty difficult in the original Super Mario Kart.
For sure.
Yeah. So for my part, I've probably played almost every game. with a few exceptions, but I've only actually owned 3 Mario Kart games. You guys want to guess what they are?
Well, I know 8 Deluxe is one, because I've played against you on that.
Wii?
I was just going to guess the Wii. No?
7?
Double Dash?
Nope.
Wow.
64.
So the other 2 are Super Mario Kart and Super Circuit.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
You totally missed 64 then.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, really most systems I've been a late adopter on. I think I've mentioned this before. The Switch was the first console I actually got day one. The Wii was pretty close. I just had to find one. But that took like a year. So we got an N64 kind of late, and we got Diddy Kong Racing with it. And really, never felt the need to pick up Mario Kart 64 when we already had Diddy Kong Racing. There's definitely some overlap there. And
yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, they're 2 different games, but I like both of them pretty much the same, but for different reasons. Like I can't complain about Diddy Kong Racing like some people do. I think it's equally as good as Mario Kart, but for different reasons.
Oh, I think it's better. Maybe not than Mario Kart like 8, but better than Mario Kart 64. I don't know how controversial that is, but
a lot of people agree with you because of the Diddy Kong Racing gives you probably a better single player experience if you aren't playing. But for my money, I still feel like Mario Kart 64 delivers a better multiplayer experience for me personally, anyway.
I mean, Diddy Kong Racing's multiplayer, I liked it too because it was more diverse. There was more different play modes.
Yeah. Well, what was really cool is you could pick different vehicles on the same course.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. True.
I think the most time that I spent in multiplayer for Diddy Kong Racing though was playing the one where you're the airplane and you have to pick the eggs up, take them back to your nest.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that was probably the one that got played the most.
I love the silver coin challenges, though. That's something Mario Kart really should have stolen. But we're not talking about Diddy Kong Racing. Or maybe we are.
That's true.
I don't know. It is very Mario Kart adjacent. I'm just full of Mario Kart hot takes, too, because I still enjoy Super Mario Kart. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy going back to it because of the purity of no blue shells. And like John mentioned, like the turns are tougher. Like it's a less forgiving game, and I kind of respect it for that.
It has a way higher learning curve to it. You can't just like hop into Super Mario Kart and be good out of the box like you can the other games.
And Drift Turbo is like really hard to do because you have to go into a turn and you have to straighten out with like very precise timing afterwards.
Yeah. I definitely think it's the hardest one to start playing. If you've never played Mario, like when we were kids and you had to, and it was the first game, obviously you had to start there, but
I put Super Circuit kind of in that same category.
Yes. Like I said, Super Circuit's very similar. It's kind of the same type of game, just newer. But yeah, man, it's tough.
Well,
like
a lot
people
of games
go back
on
to
the
it now
Game Boy
and still
Advance
struggle.
A lot of Game Boy Advance games were kind of ports of Super Nintendo games. That probably started as a port of Super Mario Kart. And then it just became original enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the thing about Mario Kart is probably the best time to play it is with other people. Mm-hmm. And then you don't have to own it. You just play somebody else's copy with them. So, like I said, I've definitely played Double Dash. It's kind of surprising I never picked up Wii. I know I've played it, but at the same time, I am less familiar with a lot of those tracks I find.
There's so many copies of it out there.
Yeah. You know, I think that I don't want to just kind of wash over Double Dash. not only because we promised Dan we wouldn't, but Double Dash, I felt like took everything that was promised on the 64 and then kind of added it, or I mean, really added to it. And I think in a mostly positive way. And I think that the graphics on Double Dash hold up really well. But you could say that with a lot of GameCube games, actually. I feel like the thing with adding two characters into your cart, and that gives you different special pickup power-ups, items, depending on who you have in your cart. So you kind of mix and match. I thought that was actually really cool. And I know at the time, it was kind of a little divisive, it seemed like, compared to like the 64 and stuff. People were like wanted, I never quite knew why. I thought the courses were a lot of fun in Double Dash. Like I said, I think like having the two things. I know a lot of people don't like the way that the carts control quite as much.
I was gonna say, yeah, they feel more sticky than the N64 did.
But if you get used to it, I will say though that I preferred battle mode on the 64 over Double Dash.
I think it's still today like one of the best battle modes in kart racing.
The 64?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've really kind of de-emphasized battle mode in the more recent. I mean, it was DLC for 8.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mario Kart 8 didn't even have it when it launched.
Yeah.
Didn't even have it for the Wii U, right?
All the things they added for the DLC pass for Deluxe, nothing there was battle mode. And I also thought that the battle mode tracks were pretty lackluster in 8 as well.
Yeah, they weren't that good.
I mean,
like the Mario Circuit one, like who plays on that? That's like a normal track, and you're just going around a loop, never seeing anyone else the whole time.
Well, that's what I when they came out for the Direct for Mario Kart World, I'm wondering if that's not exactly what battle mode kind of looks like again. It looks like a huge arena track.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what they do with it.
But now if you have 20 people in there and you're filling it up, it might make sense. 20, 24, whatever it is supposed to be.
But once they get eliminated...
Right.
Yeah, then it's hunt someone down at that point.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. But you're definitely right. They do seem to have kind of... I wouldn't say forget that mode, but it's kind of not their main draw. And I wonder if they just know how much, if they have some kind of analytics of how important battle mode is to general people playing this game.
Yeah, it could be. I feel like it's more strong online now.
Yeah. But because I will say that as I've gotten older and played a lot with my family, as my kids were growing up, really starting with the Wii and going up, that we never really played battle mode together. So it's really just more about the racing.
Yeah.
So I've
suggested it a few times. People just don't want to play it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm always game for battle mode.
It. My kids love on Mario Kart 8 the mode where it's basically like cops and robbers where you catch the other players with the piranha plants.
Now I think that's the thing.
They added some cool modes. I just think the courses are lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that mode is even more popular with my kids than the traditional, just 3-balloon battle mode.
Yeah.
Yep. Coin battle has always been kind of a turd. I don't know why. It keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like coin match in Smash Bros. Like, who plays that?
Nobody.
Right. And I think the only 2 battle modes we've seen for Mario Kart World are coin
and balloon. I'm hoping they bring some of the ones back from Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting my hopes up, but I'm like, they're charging $80. They should provide, a full suite of modes, but we'll see.
I hope so.
Yep.
I was looking kind of to what Sam said of how many of these I've played. I think I've played just about all of them, but a couple of the arcade games. I have played GPDX, but I have not played any of the other ones. And then after that, I've played all the
I believe
console
I've played GPDX.
I need to figure out, because I know I've played GPDX as well, but when we were on spring break, the house that we rented actually had a Mario Kart arcade unit inside the house. And it was based on Mario Kart. It was based on Mario Kart 8. So it couldn't, unless it's just an updated version of DX.
Could be. I'm not sure.
I should have paid better attention to what build it kind of was. But what's interesting about the arcades is that you have non-Mario characters.
Yeah.
You have Pac-Man. I'm trying to remember what other.
I think it's because the arcade machines are made by Namco.
Yes. What's the drum guy?
Begins with the T.
Yeah, Taito.
Yeah,
Taito was also available as a character, selectable character. So
it was also the first game to actually have Pauline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pauline came
the VR
to
version. I've
GP
never played that, but
before.
that would be fun. trying the VR.
So out of which one is your guys' favorite? Which one do you go back to the most?
I mean, if I'm going to go back and play, it's going to be 8 Deluxe at this point most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's my favorite, but it's the most. But it's consistent and it's good. I mean, it's very, very good. I have. If you were to say what is your favorite, to me, it's going to be a tie between 64 and Double Dash. Just depends on my mood.
I think Dan would say Double Dash. I mean, if I'm being nostalgic, I'd probably say the first game just because it started it all. And I mean, if I'm going to go back and play one, that's probably the one I go back and play.
Yeah.
I loved the original game.
Different. Because it's so different, it is worth going back to. Because I feel like if you go back to like Mario Kart Wii or 7 or Double Dash, it's just, I know Double Dash has its like extreme fans, but I think I don't know. To me, it just comes across as like GameCube nostalgia, coloring everything over a little bit extra.
How dare you, sir?
Because I play those games and I'm like, I could just be playing Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, I mean, once you go to 3D Mario Kart,
offers something different.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the time though, right? If you think about when it released, it was like I said, everything that 64, but better in my opinion in a lot of ways. Although I'm still quite nostalgic for the 64 courses and the simplicity sometimes of the 64 and the amount of hours I put into that one.
The 64 game, like the heavier karts are almost like uncontrollable. Like they're unwieldy.
It's not easy, especially at higher speeds.
Yeah.
You crash into the wall a lot.
And I feel like it's the most extreme as far as the 3D Mario Karts of like how different the characters, the light, medium, heavy control and accelerate. Like Toad just flat out goes like off the start line. Unlike you definitely don't feel that whenever you're playing any of the newer ones as much. And then DJ and Bowser obviously takes them 2 years to get going.
You adjust that with the custom carts and custom parts as well.
And
which I'm actually happy to see go.
I was just going to say that, which we're not getting. It doesn't look like in Mario Kart World, and I'm okay with that.
You choose a character and a cart, so you do have 2 pieces.
Yes,
which you had in Double Dash too.
Yes.
I also kind of miss that in 64, where like if you're playing the bigger characters at a little bit of an acceleration disadvantage, but you had higher top speed, and then if you someone ran into you with one of the smaller characters, it wiped them out. Like
right.
There was some different, like all kinds of different game mechanics going on in that game. I think all that was lost going forward. The further we get away from it.
Well, I'm just glad that now the karts will have a like whole aesthetic to them, and that we won't see roller tires on everything.
Yeah, I wonder if this will kind of get rid of that meta. You know, others when you go online and you play a bunch against randos, they all have the same
kart,
the same kart, and
everyone knows what to put on.
I just like playing whoever. I don't get that seriously. I'm never going to be top tier Mario Kart player. I just don't have the time and energy to put it in, or the desire to put in that many hours into this game and learning every shortcut, every trick, and every meta, whatever. I like playing Mario Kart best when it's just a fun party situation.
Do you guys have that person that ever since the Wii, like they're still using motion controls?
Yeah, my wife and daughter.
My wife is the same way. She still uses that was when we bought the Wii pretty late, like 2009. I think is whenever I got a Wii. Like that's how long it took, and we got Mario Kart with it. So like that was the game that we played. So we'd play Mario Kart like every day when we first got married, and she still uses the motion controls today.
Yeah, when Mario Kart World was announced, the first question my wife had was, are they going to release the wheels? So
is there a wheel?
Still play the thing? And I said probably, and they are. And then I was like, oh, but we don't need to worry about that because you'll still be able to use the old wheels with. Yeah,
you could just use the old Joy-Con with
Joy-Cons, so you could still steer to your heart's content. It works for her though, right? Like that's how she does it. That's how her and my daughter prefer. And
well, and as big as the install base for the Wii was, that was a lot of people's first Mario Kart.
Yeah. There are people who I'm pretty sure, probably not of our generation, probably younger, hopefully, but who really do. I've met people who really think that Mario Kart Wii was the first Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was so big. Mm-hmm. And now it's hard to believe, but I mean, that was 17 years ago.
Right.
There's people that are about to be adults that were, just born when this game came out.
It's very true.
So yeah, for a lot of people, this might be the original one. They might have been like 5 or something whenever it came out.
Well, I mean, yeah, 2008. I mean, that's when my son was born. So, yep.
Yeah, mine was born the next year after that. So,
yeah. That is his original Mario Kart, and it's gotten to the point where he can beat me pretty consistently now on 8 Deluxe.
Yep.
So, I don't know, but he does not play motion control. So,
yeah, my son doesn't either. I got him out of that pretty quickly. I was like, well, if you want to play like the real way, we can.
That's right.
Show you how to do that. You'll win every time if you play like this. Did you guys buy the live home circuit?
I did not.
I have both. I have one of each. I have Mario and Luigi, and we have enough room in our house that we could play it. Like we built our own circuits in the living room, and my kids loved it for that first year, and then they've been collecting dust ever since.
That's what I was worried about, and we don't have a ton of room anyway, so we passed.
It's one of those things.
I think that would have been the case.
I'll break them back out here soon. It's been long enough.
That would have been the case even if it was me, but when I saw those, kind of like with the Mario Lego sets, like I would definitely have asked for this as a kid if it existed. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But like it's just not for me right now. And even then, it probably would have been collecting dust in a while. You know, that's just how it is. Like you think something's awesome, and it is awesome for like a month, and then you forget about it.
I mean, they were definitely more robust than I thought they were going to be. They held up. I mean, my dogs would like run them over while we were driving them because they're curious, and like the kids like dropped them. I mean, they've been through it for about a year. We'd race them every weekend for a while.
Nice.
It still amazes me that Nintendo just kind of like threw this out there. Everyone was like clamoring for a new Mario Kart, and they're like, "Here you go. Here's some RC cars. You guys can have fun."
Yeah. Now, Mario Kart 7 was an interesting one for me because I liked a lot of what was done for Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, but my hands cramped up really bad playing it.
You had to have a grip.
I do not have the amount of hours into it at the time. I mean, it was hard on my hands. And so, but what I really did like about it is the download play. So I had a copy of it. My son could play on his 3DS. My daughter could do it on her 2DS. And they would just be shy guys. They didn't care, you know. And we could play that. That's right.
You were always a shy guy, too. I remember that.
Yep.
I mean, Mario Kart 7 also, since it was on the 3DS, brought the more robust online experience. Because, I mean, Mario Kart DS was, I think, one of the first Nintendo games to have online.
You might be right.
Because I remember they sold the little dongle
And Mario Kart has always been kind of one of the best performing online games because there's a lot of tricks you can do to hide a bad connection or a bad service.
Well, if you think about it,
really doesn't have to update what other people are doing until they get close to you.
Well, yeah, and the amount of data that it needs. I mean, you're basically playing a single level. Only, you don't have to like. It's never generating a whole lot of draw distance, or it doesn't need to show you a whole lot at once. So they work perfectly, and like you're never, you're bouncing in and out of things pretty often. It's always an exit out of a match into the next thing or whatever. It's not like a massive online multiplayer game or something where there's so much stuff it's having to do. I mean, it was a fairly good experience even on the DS. I had one of the little wireless dongle sticks that you put in your computer that sends the signal, the internet to it, before there was wireless routers everywhere.
Right. I don't think I ever played DS one online. I think, no, Wii was probably the first one I played online then.
Yeah.
I was going to say 7, but it'd probably be Wii.
Well, and 7 was really good online, and
7 had really good online.
And it had voice chat.
I said, I could only play it for so long before my hands would cramp up.
You could do voice chat with a friend on the 3DS, which is something that's weird because the Switch didn't have it for so long.
We're getting it back, though.
Yes, it's coming back.
Got it on the app.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The Switch didn't originally
play Mario
have
Kart Tour?
I downloaded it. I played it a few times.
Yeah,
I didn't even bother. My exposure, my opinion of Tour did change a lot when they started adding those tracks to 8, and I'm like, wow, these are actually really cool tracks. I'm like, this is from Tour?
They weren't that cool on Tour, though. They
Tour,
changed them to make it work for 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't it was like swipe left, right.
Yeah.
For steering. Like, it's hard to put Mario Kart on a phone and it translate very well unless you do it like basically make like a new handheld version, like a new 3DS version for it.
But
they Nintendo was very strict with their mobile games have to be able to be played with like a single finger.
Yep.
And I think that's what drove them to do something like this. It was like an initiative they had with all their mobile games, I think, is they needed to be you can play them with just your thumb. That's all you need. Can't be too complicated. No. That's how we got Mario Run.
And I think we do need to talk about what they did with Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe, because they took, obviously 8 straight up is actually a really good Mario Kart game.
Yep.
It's just there are so few people.
It was on a failing console
on the Wii U, and what they chose to do on the Switch to never give us a new Mario Kart game, but also to give us a new Mario Kart game within Deluxe, because that's what ended up happening. Because Deluxe took all the levels and the characters, and then we got more. And yes, it's basically DLC or unless you have the NSO expansion. They doubled the amount of courses.
Oh, yeah.
And it already had a lot of courses to begin with. And so it really did give you a whole new game. Even though it was still just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it really was a sequel, I feel like, more than just a port by the time it was done.
When you look back at it now and how everything rolled out with them just adding the DLC content to Mario Kart, makes me think that they had the vision for Mario Kart World pretty early on and realized that it just wasn't possible on the hardware. So they drew it out and, took forever with, getting the DLC stuff rolled out. It took like 2 years, didn't it, to get everything?
Yep.
It took them a long time to even announce DLC. The Switch was already 4 or 5 years old whenever they start rolling it out.
Which is weird, because you'd think with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being a launch window game, if you were going to do DLC for it, you'd do it like the next year.
Yeah, but I think they once they had that big boom where like it just exploded sales wise, I think they realized they didn't have to.
Yeah. And I think that what they ended up doing probably actually was smarter, right? Because it actually lengthened the time that the game spent in the spotlight.
Yep.
There's a good reason why it's one of their top selling games of all time.
It very early on had probably a 60 to 70% attach rate to the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they noticed that. They're pretty smart as far as they do two things really well. They give us what we didn't think we ever wanted. And then 2, they're very good at planning when to drop stuff, it seems like.
Yeah.
Through the whole, that's with the Switch anyway. I can't say that for the Wii U and previous versions, but with the Switch, we basically got a first party Nintendo game almost every month.
Mm-hmm.
Like they figured out a way to just kind of spread everything out.
Well, and part of it is they didn't have 2 platforms to make games for anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that helps. And for anyone that doesn't think the Switch 2 is not going to be a success, I think Nintendo will figure out a way to get software to us that will change that.
Yep.
I think there's going to be the same.
It's a great launch title.
Oh yeah,
the thing about Mario Kart is everybody loves Mario Kart. I guess there's
and anyone can play it,
but that's I have a lot of friends who don't play video games, but they will play Mario Kart with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is truly an all ages game. Like even at 2 and 3 years old, my kids, I would turn on the automatic,
especially with
acceleration and the steering.
Just gonna say, with 8 Deluxe onward, having those extra things where they don't. They literally could just hold a controller, and play
and feel like they're doing something. Like my daughter was really young whenever the Switch came out. I think she was only 4 or 5, and she would be playing, and we would turn that stuff on, and her and my son would be racing, and she would just set the controller down and go get a drink, and then come back mid race, pick it up, start racing again. It is hilarious, but it definitely makes a difference. It made it to where she would actually play because she didn't have to be there 100% all the time.
And I think that's smart because to get those young kids playing, because it creates an experience and an impression, right from a young age. And because it adapts so well to all ages. My grandpa could play this game,
And I think that's kind of been Nintendo's role in video games for quite a while. They pick up the early age and get you to where you're playing games, and then it continues on, throughout. Mm-hmm. Where if we didn't have that and every game was made for an adult, you would have generations that don't play video games, I think.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't get that early on access to it. I mean, if everything was Grand Theft Auto, you would you'd have like I said, you'd have a whole generation of kids that didn't get to play video games because they weren't there for them, and
right.
Then they just wouldn't play. Because I mean, that's why we play games today still, because we grew up with them and then went forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we see it all the time with other things, other forms of media. Right now, you can't find a comedy movie for your life because they just stopped doing it. I think people stopped watching them. There's like a whole generation that doesn't even know what a comedy movie really is, like slapstick type stuff.
Right. True. All right. Bring it back to Mario Kart here for a minute. Favorite racer from any, it doesn't matter what version of the game, who are you picking?
I've always been a Yoshi driver.
What about you, Sam?
So in 8, I switch it up pretty frequently. I do remember in Super Mario Kart, I always wanted to play Koopa Troopa. For whatever reason. He just seemed like the more novel pick back then. Yep. I never liked him in later games because they made him into like a lightweight. But in Super, he was like a midweight. I tend to not like the lightweight characters as much. Although I have played a lot of Lakitu and Shy Guy anyway, just because I like those characters.
Mm-hmm. The older ones, there's always something kind of fun about playing as Donkey Kong. In some of them,
the old ones was the sound effects that he would make.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Bring those back.
Like he'd be spinning out on a banana.
If in a lot of them, like, you can never go wrong with the Mario for me, but I do like playing like Sam. I do like, if an option like a Hammer Brother or something like that is going to be available, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Brother is that even a selection before World?
Who isn't?
I know we're going to get to do World. Okay. All of a sudden, I can't remember actually doing that. Must be in Mario Party and stuff like that. But those enemies, those common Mario enemies, are always kind of fun. But if I'm playing 8, I've always been Link, right? Just because Link is my favorite character, even though it's not even a Mario character. But when we started getting more DLC characters, and Pauline came out, I've been maining Pauline pretty much since she came out. In World, I'll probably spend a good amount of time as Pauline, but I am kind of excited to do things like Hammer Brothers and some of the other stuff. Still not sure how a Goomba drives, but why not?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that they decided to leave the non-Mario characters
with that
out
too,
because I feel like I either want them to be all in on it or not at all. Like Mario Kart 8 kind of felt weird because they're in there as DLC characters, but none of the, like, it took a while. You got some DLC courses, but it just never felt like, it still felt like Mario Kart, but with them shoehorned in. If I want those characters in there, I want them to do like Nintendo Kart.
Right.
So it was weird to me, as few battle mode maps as there were, that one of them was Urchin Underpass. It feels even weirder now because that is a map from Splatoon 1 that has not returned in any later Splatoon game. Because it's actually an infamously broken map. They had to remove it from the rotation for a while and redesign it. And they still said, we're never bringing this back because it had a brutal choke point in it that, like, once one team took it, you couldn't win.
Yeah, it was like a race to get that taken, and that was it.
So it's this very weird artifact where, like, I'm sure there are people, like, who only played, like, Splatoon 2 and 3 because Splatoon 1 was on the Wii U and nobody bought a Wii U.
Right.
They're like, what is this Splatoon map in Mario Kart? I don't even recognize this, and I play Splatoon 2 and 3.
Right. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm okay. As much as I feel this obligation to play Link because I love the character so much, but because that's not going to be the case in World, I'm not going to have to feel that obligation, and it's going to give me I think a lot more kind of
one other character I played a lot of in 8 was me with the Mega Man suit. Just because that's the closest thing to Mega Man.
It doesn't look like we have Mii's anymore either. So this is straight up going back to just Mario characters, and a lot of them. I will say I am a little concerned about the select screen, because it looks like it's just pages and pages and pages, and a lot of them are costumes. I do wish they would have just gone with, okay, you picked Mario, here's every
select
hit L or R to find
change
to try to get to the costume you want.
Or do like they do with Yoshi in Mario Kart 8, where you select him and then you select the color you want.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Shy Guys are the same way.
Yeah.
I would prefer that, but
yeah, for me now in World, the question is really just going to be Monty Mole or Rocky Wrench.
That's right. So
that's true.
Kind of the last question that I asked in the community couch is, how do you feel about the direction that Mario Kart is trying to go? We'll see how successful they are when we get our hands on the game, but it seems like a fairly big departure for Mario Kart, a franchise that's been historically pretty much the same with, a different gimmick for each additional title.
It's kind of hard to say without getting our hands on it yet. I'm very curious to see is the exploration of the open world. What do those challenges really do? Are they worth doing? Is it just to collect something, or is there something that you unlock by doing it? I am glad too, though, that we'll just be able to, if you want, you can just do a Grand Prix and pick your course,
traditional style.
Do 3 laps on it, pick a new course. I think as long as those things are still available, I'm okay. I'm definitely interested to see kind of how the new items work out for it. We still don't know if some of the other stuff's returning. Like, we haven't seen whether or not there's still the horn. I don't think so anyway, have we? They haven't just said, here's all the items. What's that?
I like the feather being back. In main, the thing is, it was in battle mode, which was weird.
Yeah, well, it's because its purpose is to be able to jump over an item that's coming at you or whatever, or dodge an item. But in this game, I don't even know why they brought the feather back. In battle mode, if you jump over another player, you actually steal a balloon from them.
Yeah. I think, to answer your question, because it looks like you can jump without the feather in this game, but I wonder if the feather gives you a bigger jump. It won't have to be timed as much.
And you don't have to charge it up.
Right.
I also think that anybody that's kind of expecting this to be a Forza type experience is probably a little bit going to be disappointed. I don't think it's going to be quite to that level.
The main
I think it's going to be open world exploration.
The main thing I think they really should do that I think should be relatively easy to add is if you're in a group of friends, just doing the free roam, you should be able to just drop a pin on the map and say, okay, we're going to race to this spot.
Oh, that would be
and have the
cool.
game initiate a real race. Because then it's almost like, hey, here's a big sandbox and make your own track in it.
Right.
Or even trace a path and say you have to go. But I think it would actually be cool to just drop a pin and be like, everybody go their own route, or even start from different locations and just see who gets there first. If you're just playing with friends, that could be fun.
Have them trying to like generate a point even that's equal distance for everyone or close to it.
That's at least somewhat fair within bounds. Yeah. Because Mario Kart's not fair. You get blue shelled at the last lap.
Yeah,
that's kind of what makes it approachable. It's not fair.
I think there's all kinds of things that they can do. I'm really hoping that the world is a little bit more lively as far as like characters and things as we get in there, not just like cars and extra stuff. It'd be nice if there was like people you could talk to and like different like story beats to it. But
I don't think there's going to be, though. I think if there was going to be story beats and stuff, we would have seen that in the direct. Yeah. Because that's where you would mention that, like, hey, even if it was just like, go on quests, talk to characters, throughout the Mario.
I think that's something that would be neat for them to incorporate. They have this big open world. To me, it's almost like wait till we get the Mario Kart World 2, because it's just like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was a pretty desolate game as far as what all was in the world, and then once you got to Tears of the Kingdom, there was like tons of characters and all kinds of different people you could talk to, different things.
Well, the thing Breath of the Wild did well, though, is there was always stuff to do everywhere in the world. There was always Koroks to find. There was always,
but it always felt more empty than Tears of the Kingdom did.
Yeah, in terms of like civilization, lived in environment. Yeah.
Yep.
It was wild.
It is, yeah.
I do want to just back up. I don't know if anybody else has tracks that they want to talk about. But there are 2 tracks that when they come up in Mario Kart 8 Online, I always vote for them. I can't remember if they've ever shown up at the same time, and I had to choose between them. One is Moo Moo Meadows, because
I do like Moo Moo Meadows.
Really like Moo Moo Meadows. And it's a very easy course. But I don't know. I like Moo Moos. I like the music. I just have fun. It just makes me happy every time I see it.
My wife's favorite course.
Yeah, I do like. I'm also a big fan of Moo Moo Meadows. So much so that I was shocked that the cow is not called a Moo Moo.
Yeah, he should have been.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Or Mario Universe.
They're not cows. They're Moo Moos.
Exactly. I agree. One of the other ones that I love, and mostly because it is fast and chaotic, is Baby Park.
Yeah.
Baby Park is very divisive. It is love it or hate it.
Yep. I get it. Yep. I love it though. It'd be just because it's just pure chaos. You can't even tell what's happening half the time. You're just, especially
as
at
many other
speeds,
tracks are in the game. I just think it's nice to have something like that.
Yep.
My favorite tracks have always been Toad's Turnpike. At all of its variations over the years in different games. But it kind of seems like that's going to be just the whole game for this one, is dodging traffic.
Every interlude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
there was something though when the first time, it just seemed different, right? Like, okay, now I'm having to weave through real traffic here.
Yes.
This isn't just racing other Mario
if you played it on mirror mode, they're like coming at you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. What's everybody's got to have a favorite Rainbow Road too. So.
I like the Super Nintendo one. I like the iteration of it in 8.
Yeah, I have to say that the 64 Rainbow Road is still my favorite.
Yeah,
it's long.
But I do want to shout out.
It's very long.
I do want to shout out my other favorite course, which is Donut Plains 3. Especially, again, with 8, but I think some of that's driven by I do have a lot of memories of Super Nintendo. I always liked seeing the Super Nintendo courses reimagined for it. Because 3D. Obviously they were so simple before. But I just remember very distinctly now, way back when the Nintendo dads were doing monthly Mayhem, there was a Mario Kart competition, and it was based mostly on time. I think it was all time trials. I did not win the whole competition, but I just, for some reason, stubbornly decided, like, Donut Plains is mine. Nobody is going to beat my time on Donut Plains. And I think I stayed up to like 1:45 a.m. making sure. I got a pretty ridiculous time. I don't remember what it was. I think I drove Zablanc insane by just beating his time every time he would post something. I mean, obviously it's not like a world record or anything, but yeah, I played that course a lot at that time.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many of them. You know, and I like even in Mario Kart 8 some of the other games that they kind of took and used for inspiration. Like, I actually think that the F-Zero course in 8 is really, really good. Yep. As is, I feel like the Excite Bike. I actually really like the Excite Bike course, and I think that was kind of a fun addition.
What's the course where you get shot out of the cannon?
DK Summit? Is it Summit or
Mountain?
DK Mountain.
I don't know. I can never remember I have a hard time keeping track.
That's always a fun one too.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. Yep. So,
but
all right.
Well, do we want to hop into the community couch? Have we talked enough?
Yep.
Of our own experiences.
Got quite a bit of community couch, so we'll hop over to Discord.
Want to take turns reading these?
People wrote a lot. Yeah, I'll take the first one because I've got it in front of me. So Drex1981 says, Mario Kart 64 is my first game. Playing battle mode, my driver is Toad. And my favorite game is a tie between Mario Kart 8 and DS. Mario Kart World for me is the next logical step for the series. Just repeating the same thing over and over again would get old. The thing about Mario Kart is that it's much more fun to play with people. It gets stale playing by yourself, kind of like a fighting game. I hope it's not too ambitious for its own good based on Nintendo's online structure.
Well, yeah. But like we said, Mario Kart
usually does pretty well.
Comparatively, I mean... Yeah.
On the Wii U, it was not. But since it's been on the Switch, it has been way better.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember waiting on the Wii U forever to get into... waiting in the lobby on that little planet forever to get into games.
And here now, while you're waiting, you can
But you had Miiverse.
Yeah. This is true, yes.
It's true.
Solo says, I got exposed to it couch co-op on the GameCube in college with friends, but didn't own a GameCube, so playtime was limited. Got my first real dive into it on the Switch. My favorite character is Wario in the Mario Kart 8 entry. I like the way they're going with what has been shown thus far, the open world driving and the different ways to race. I hope they do add some more Forza type elements to the game. So I guess Solo is the one that I was talking to when I said, try to keep your expectations a little bit lower as far as being a Forza Horizon style game.
Yeah. Octorock said, I remember playing the original Super Mario Kart at a friend's house, but I wasn't too crazy about it at the time. That's kind of how I was as well. Mario Kart 64, hitting the scene with 4 players in battle mode was when I got hooked. Yep, also like me. The series to this day still hasn't topped the battle mode from Mario Kart 64, but if I'm being honest, as much as I played it, I never really liked the controls or the physics in this entry. My main in Mario Kart 64 was usually either Yoshi or Wario. Double Dash was enormous for me, and is probably my number 2 favorite in the series after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They really got the controls and physics dilated in this entry, and at the time it came out, I had a large group of online forum friends that would all try to top each other's time trial records. My mains in Mario Kart Double Dash were typically Birdo or PD Piranha. I completely forgot that Birdo was in there.
Yep.
And PD, and they were there. They were supposed to be the complementary couple for that you would pick.
Yep.
Together. Another huge entry for me was Mario Kart DS, which was my first real Nintendo Online multiplayer experience, and I played the crap out of it. My main in Mario Kart DS was Dry Bones. My current main is Orange Shy Guy. Can't wait to play as Cataquack in Mario Kart World. Nice. Yep.
Totally agree with all those points.
Yeah, a lot of love for 64 and Double Dash, for sure.
Especially, and Adam and I are very similar age, very close in age, and so I think that's would probably be, if you ask a lot of people my age, our age, they'd probably have a similar answer.
Yeah, young people, it's all going to be Wii. Zomber says Mario Kart 64 was the first game my mother ever bought for me, and the first game I learned like the back of my hand. It'll always be my favorite, and with Bowser, I can give my friends evil looks. As far as how the series is going, I'm not opinionated enough for that. I'll play whatever Mario Kart game is out there and love it. I have some reservations about Mario Kart World, but I'm sure it will still be fun. If you want to give people evil looks, I think you got to pick Luigi these days.
Yeah, that's the meme, isn't it?
The Luigi Death Glare. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. And the last one here, Eric Plunk says, I first got into Mario Kart as a 9-year-old with Super Mario Kart on the SNES. I put so much time into getting all of the gold cups on every cup with my uncle. It can be hard to, or in every CC, every cup in every CC. It can be hard to return control-wise, but as a kid, I had those controls mastered. Yoshi was always been my main. I love what Double Dash did with the change-up gameplay, and it looks like Mario Kart World is set to do so in even a bigger way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a Yoshi main, and Mario Kart, like the things he's talking about with the SNES. As a kid, man, I just had burned all those tracks into memory and knew exactly when to turn, all the jumps, like in the ghost house level, doing all the little extra jump stuff in there.
Oh yeah, I don't think I was ever that fancy with it. But I know what you're talking about. There's some good shortcuts you can take.
Good shortcuts in there, yeah. If you have a boost. And then Mario Kart World, I know we're all pretty excited to get our hands on it, but the thing that strikes me the most is just how good the game looks. Just looking at it, it's too pretty to even play almost. It looks like it's even a step above 8.
Yeah, the only disappointment I really have right now is that we've got all these characters added and still no Wart. If they added Wart,
I would need Wart to appear anywhere. They just need to acknowledge Wart again.
And I want Tatanga. Yeah.
Yes.
There's other characters I think would be cool, but those are the two that just like. And it is like as much as I like having like these random little enemies. I'm like, okay, it makes sense to me to give preference to these like actual named characters because I mean,
they're added. I want even the case Super Yoshi, Show Bowser.
Goomba is not one individual. There are many Goombas, but like, there's only one Wart.
You should be able to.
There's only one.
You should be able to drive
just like there's only one Mario.
Goombas.
That's very true.
Goomba stack. Dr. Goomba Stack. That's what we
Dr.
need.
Goomba Stack.
You know what? One other one I think would be cool and is very recent. I think the Moai from Odyssey would be cool.
Well, that would kind of be cool.
Yeah. If a Goomba can drive, so can he.
Makes sense to me.
Well, that's Community Couch. I think we made it. We talked Mario Kart.
That's the Community Couch. That's Mario Kart. So we'll probably be playing it with some community people in the future. Just a little over a month away. So we'll have more opinions on it then, I'm sure. But
oh yeah,
Mario Kart seems to be pretty constant because I can't I mean, I guess there's some people who look back at Super Mario Kart and they can't stand it, but really, I don't think there's a dud in this series.
Super Circuit's probably the one that most people
stuff like
stay
Tour, for what it is. It's a mobile game.
Yeah. Super Circuit doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I can't say it's because it's not necessarily a bad game. It just doesn't. I don't know.
It's kind of lacking. There's not a whole lot to it that changed from Super.
And I think the biggest issue with Super Circuit is it's hard to do multiplayer on the GBA. You need link cables.
This is true.
And multiple copies of it.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like the courses were all that fun. It's been a while since I've played it, though, so...
I mean, I think Sam hit it right there, though. The biggest drawback to it is the fact that multiplayer, like, every one of these games have come out with at least a way to play multiplayer. I mean, granted, the DS was kind of in the same boat as far as how you could play locally multiplayer, but you at least introduced online, so you could play online with people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Super Circuit, you literally had to have a link cable, or you were playing by yourself always.
Yeah, that's true. And Mario Kart is definitely always a multiplayer experience first.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Super Circuit exists, with Nintendo even knowing that multiplayer drives Mario Kart in the first place. I mean, it
was pretty early on game, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 9 years into it, and Mario Kart 64 was such a hit success because of multiplayer.
True.
So I'm really surprised that you followed up
the first party output.
Multiplayer.
The first party output on the Game Boy Advance is just weird. Because, like, there was no GBA original Mario game.
That's correct.
That's weird to think about. We got all the Super Mario Advance games, but those were ports of the old games.
Sometimes I feel like the GBA, as much as I love it, and I really, really love the GBA, sometimes it feels kind of like it was a stopgap because they wanted to get to the DS, but weren't quite there yet. It needed something to kind of...
they finally acknowledged that the Game Boy was too old.
Yeah.
Well, they tried to move on from Game Boy earlier. Kind of failed at it. Their prototype it wasn't wasn't quite ready.
The Virtual Boy?
Yeah. So really, to me, there was actually there was a prototype system between Game Boy Color and GBA. I think it was supposed to come out around the same time as Game Boy Color. It was even a 32-bit system like the Game Boy Advance. But it was going to be a vertical handheld like the Game Boy. But I don't think that the power was too hard to get battery life out of, and like it just never did come together like they wanted it to.
I mean, that's why I feel like maybe they were like, the GBA was probably an easy enough thing to more or less.
I think it was called the Atlantis, if I remember right.
Oh, I'm not.
Was its code name? I don't think they were going to sell it as the Atlantis, but
right.
I think its code name was the Atlantis. But it was a 32-bit.
Code names are always cooler.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
So
Revolution.
To me, I am kind of surprised that I think they felt rushed with the GBA and it really didn't last very long either.
Well, that's why I always thought that GBA was just kind of that. Hey, we still need something in this line. Game Boy is huge for us, and we just need something. We have this idea for this dual screen thing, but we're not quite there. But I don't know.
I mean, it just always felt weird to me. I kind of imagined that they would have been developing something Mario related for that prototype Game Boy. So you think that the progress would have carried over and that would have ended up being a Game Boy Advance game, but
unless it became new Super Mario Brothers.
Could be. I mean, with Nintendo, you never know unless you worked there in that time period and knew, we're in with the stuff that was being developed. There's probably all kinds of stories that we have no idea, stuff that never actually leaked.
Well, that was quite the tangent we went on to conclude Mario Kart.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all just because
Nintendo.
Wondering why Mario Kart
weird.
Super Circuit exists and is the way it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
It's weird because I think at one point in my life I probably played the most Super Circuit out of any Mario Kart game, at least. But it's more just because that's what I had. And
yeah, it was one of the earlier GBA games
Game Boy
that I had,
Advance,
I think.
you know.
Yeah.
I had that and a bunch of Mega Man games, really, for the GBA.
A bunch of Battle Network games.
So I had Battle Network. I had the whole Zero series too.
Yeah, I forgot about Zero.
But yeah, they were churning out Mega Man on that thing. It was a Mega Man machine. Yeah, but that's it for Mario Kart. So thank you for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check us out at Blue Sky at retrologicgames.bsky.social. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community, and the link to that is in the bio at Blue Sky. And you can also find everything on our website, retrologic.games. Until next time, Mario Kart on. I don't know. There's no catchphrase for Mario Kart, really.
Let's go.
Yes.